The man had a vision. He does not remember when it happened. But he was sitting on a hill overlooking a muskeg, enjoying the beauty of the land, and he remembers feeling, I think I understand what it means to be connected. I think I understand my ancestors' words when they said, o ta o kia asiki, you are of this earth. Just then, he sees movement crossing the muskeg. He looks and sees a bull caribou walking gracefully across it. The caribou stops, looks at the human and says, ta puinga namatan, po. Maybe I will disappear from this land forever. But you humans, foolish humans, still may have time to save yourselves.
One of the older land users. I've lived this way of life for years. I've been born this way, and I hear you what you're saying. There's a lot of changes, out there that we observe every day. A lot of things that a lot of people don't even see in front of their eyes that are missing. Like, we used to go down the lake, and the shoreline is supposed to be full of tadpoles. Frogs are missing. They're gone. There's no frogs. And what does that say, and what does that indicate? That we have a serious problem here. Birds. Used to be birds when we were kids. It's full of birds out here. We were talking about that this morning. Used to be like a jungle when you woke up in the morning. And I know that this is our last chance, like somebody stated, to change and to change the way of thinking, to change our consciousness, to be able to change this, whatever is happening here. Because, we talk about species at risk. And of course, caribou is a species at risk, and we're using that caribou as a window, to go further, to explore other things. Right now, there's still a few of us that are natural, traditional resource users, knowledge keepers, people that know. Well, know a little bit at least to make a little bit of difference. We've been silent too long. Want to talk about this. We want to voice our opinions and what our knowledge, And all of us have something to contribute. All of us, everybody.
And this morning, when we had our little opening prayer and ceremony, people were realizing that this is not a formal conversation. Just by hanging around, eating, some guys went hunting last night, by talking, by sharing our experiences, telling jokes, stories, that even though we might not be talking about caribou in the land, we're reconnecting to what it is that we are. And people are really starting to find that it doesn't always have to be a formal meeting to talk about a formal agenda, to talk about, at the end of the day, it's like, what is it that we can do as human beings, as Abitobus Sanihio from Kiritmoas. So we're kind of concerned in a sense a bit more than what maybe other people are, in a sense of where caribou is in this, because we don't really have enough of a conversation or a relationship to work together with this. And that's why the gathering is here. The caribou is just down the road there, down the trail. So, and I know the province gets money from the federal government to do this, but I don't think there's any huge issue as to why it's not possible to have another level of funding to leave in the community, to leave that capacity, that ability for us not only to help monitor caribou, but all of the things that need to be monitored, because as we said this morning, it's all interdependent. So how do we track the wolves? How do we track all the other animals in this whole habitat? So
caribou, as some of us know, maybe not all of us, used to be pretty plentiful back in my early days. Hopefully you'll come up with a plan, a good solid plan that you'll follow to preserve the caribou. Because our future needs it. We all need it. The environment needs it.
From what I'm understanding and from my past experience, caribou is so tied to culture, language, medicine, and ceremony. And so, what does that mean if the caribou goes?
And I'm really worried about the way the environment is going and all these mines and everything going, the spills that they have not being reported, and they tell us after our animals are dying, our water is being polluted and our berries are going, everything that we eat is going pretty soon, so we have to take action as a team.
It may be climate change, overdevelopment, human impact on the environment. There's many factors. Acid rain from Fort Mac. Great impact on the waters, the fresh waters in this area. It's impacting the wildlife.
So we see a lot of these things happening with our environment, and I think we need to take initiatives and we need to take a stand like everybody else and start saying we want to do something about even the development that's happening around us. We should be able to have a voice even with the industries, the forestry.
Map out your area. Show us the waterways, where the birds are, where you pick your medicines, where you pick your berries, where the cabin owners are, the waterways you use, where the fish are coming in. And a group of us from the Committee for Future Generations, we did all of that work and we presented it to them. And then at those meetings, they said, they made some promises to us. None of those were kept. That it's quite frustrating because when we are given an opportunity to have a voice, it's not respected. Our respect for the natural law that governs this whole region isn't respected. So my answer is we need to take back our north.
And sitting here last night with the two government people here, it was nice. People respected them. And they enjoyed their stay out here because that's a day away from the office. Anything to do to get away from the office is good when you're working for the government. And, they stayed here overnight in the tent and they ate our food. I mean, we can work together. This is what it's all about, working together.
I think that Michael and I and others need to emphasize within our agency that we need to provide feedback to you on that stuff, that if you're going to be willing to provide us with information, we have to provide feedback to you, and we have to respect the information that you provide to us, and I believe very strongly in that.
That information is really important that it gets to the people, to the right ones. And when I hear that you're not getting that information, I kind of get a little upset. And the thing is that in order for us to protect caribou, we have to leave some of these areas alone. We have to ensure that these areas are protected for them in the future because they're not one of these creatures that can evolve. We can voluntarily defer the areas to say we're going to stay out of them, so that means we're backing off, but that doesn't mean that no other development is going to happen there. That's why the better we can do the process, if we can get legislation on this, then it's guaranteed that these areas that we've decided as for areas protection are going to be protected from all industrial development, not just from Mystic, of which we've been already out of them for 10 years. So that's the direction we need to do.
Okay, thank you very much. Merci now. Happy Wisami Ignap. I want to thank you very much. What you're doing here is, I hope, the beginning of a new approach or a new way of looking at our resources. You know, our land. We've always been saying that. I've been around for a long time trying to get people motivated, trying to think about ways where we can control our own destiny.
But I can give you a piece of my knowledge if I can. Maybe I'm not really educated like most of the people here. I didn't go to any university, but I'm in the University of the Forest. I know it's going down. But we always have to remember that we're intruding in the animals' world. We're intruders as human beings. And we're very destructive. And our Earth, we're just destroying our Earth. And our Earth's trying to fight back. And it's using all its elements to fight back. But it can't fight back on its own.
No, it's a very difficult balancing act that we have to represent the people's voices as well as our political leaders. And the main thing is to build that balance. Because there has to be an industry at some point, there has to be people at some point, there has to be respect for the land and everybody. And that's what I am here to listen as a participant, to learn. I've got pages of notes written here already. It'll be taken back and we'll be pursuing. I've been following up with people already in this.
There's one thing you can do in your words of wisdom, the fourth piece to your three-part plan, is you acknowledge, you attended here, and you acknowledge to us that you're heard. All of those hard felt truth from the land's truth. So that's the heart of the truth of the trust and the relationship that needs to be built, because that's what the land is all about, right?
So what from here? We have offered our perspectives and thoughts about Caribou and about our land. We see what must be done. What is it? We know change is happening and impacting the land and all its biodiversity. And by virtue of that fact, it is impacting us as human beings. How do we build a future that is respectful of the land and other beings? What are some of the factors that we must consider as we move forward? There's climate change, human extraction of resources, government regulations, real leadership, vision, action, and so on. It may not be that we will be the ones to save and protect Mother Earth, but rather work with her. Work with her to sustain some measure of balance for all within her realm.